I have made it very clear that I think almost all boot reviews suck, including my own. If you want to deep dive into why, watch this video right here. It is also an excellent overview of how to find the perfect pair of hunting boots for you. Now, with that said, there are still some benefits of boot reviews. To sum things up, the reason that they suck is that boots are highly personal. The boots that I might find the best pair of boots on the entire planet for me could be the worst pair of boots on the entire planet for you. That's not the same with shelters, even backpacks, even apparel. I can't think of another piece of gear that's as personalized and as fit dependent as boots are. However, there's still some elements of the boot, like the build construction, the materials used, how water resistant it is, that we can gather some objective data about, and I can share that back with you to help you make a better purchasing decision. Now today, we're gonna take a look at the Meindl Air Revolution Alpine Pro 200s. I'm just gonna call them the Alpine Pro 200s from here on out. Now, I got these boots about 5 months ago. I've taken them on one, fairly decent 6-7 day backcountry mule deer hunt, late season, very cold, sub-freezing temperatures, lots of snow. And I've probably had them on about 15 or 20 training hikes in a variety of conditions. Not sure when you're watching this video, but I picked them up in November. It's now the middle of March. So I've kind of run them through the entire gamut of late season hunting circumstances. I was essentially looking for a winter boot that would fall between my last Sportiva Nepal GTXs and my Schnee's Beartooths. The last Sportivas are a late season, insulated, super stiff boot. The Beartooths are more of an all-purpose, mid-season, early season, uninsulated, full leather, kind of middle-of-the-road stiffness boot. I wanted something that would be good for freezing temperatures in snow on moderate terrain. Also, something that would lend itself to bow hunting a little bit more, like maybe not quite as stiff, maybe a little bit quieter. The last Sportivas can be pretty bulky. Now, on the note of hunting, before we get into the tech specs on these particular boots, quick note about Mindful Hunter outfitting. So, as some of you know, this year I am offering any weapon spring black bear hunts in British Columbia. Bookings have gone extraordinarily well. I have 2 spots open. I have 1 spot open in the middle of May for 2 guys. And if 2 buddies book together, I'm gonna give you a pretty healthy discount on the whole hunt. And then I have another spot for a single guy early June. If you're interested in either of these hunts, jay@mindfulhunter.com. It should be a great time. Gonna be a wall tent, stove, gonna work in some fishing. There's some hot springs, like an hour drive from where we're gonna be camping. It should be a kick-ass season. I'm gonna be starting to scout here in the next couple weeks, but lots of bears, lots of opportunities. So if you wanna come to BC and hunt some black bears this spring, jay@mindfulhunter.com. Okay, so let's dive into the technical details of the Alpine Pro 200s. So, 9 inches tall. Now they are advertised at 3.67 pounds per pair, I'm assuming, but I don't know for what size. This is a size 14 wide, and a single boot weighs 2.6 pounds. And so I'm not sure what they thought weighed 3.67 pounds. Maybe a pair of child's boots. I'm not sure. To put this in context, my last Sportiva Nepals came in at 3 pounds for 1 boot, and my Beartooths came in at 2.2 pounds. So it's pretty wild that the last Sportivas are exactly 0.4 pounds heavier per boot, and the Beartooths are exactly 0.4 pounds lighter per boot. That is not an insignificant amount of mass, and that's something we're going to talk about a little bit more as we get into this review. Now it's got 200 grams of Gore-Tex Duratherm insulation, Gore-Tex lining for water resistance. Now Meindl uses a 4-point flex rating system, A through D. They give these ones a C. Like if we go look at this last Sportiva would be a D, and it literally does not budge. I would probably put these as more of like a 2.5 out of 4, bordering on a 2. They are not hyper stiff. Now, the upper material is made out of a suede leather. The insole is the Air Active. Midsole material is EVA foam. The outsole is a Meindl Multi-Grip 3 by Vibram. The last is the Meindl Straight Last. And that's one thing you're gonna notice about North American boots. North American boots tend to have straighter lasts. And when you compare them to European boots, like a La Sportiva, you get more of a curve to the last. And that's something to think about when you are purchasing boots, because depending on the shape of your foot, North American or European boots will tend to fit you better. They are resolable. They take an 84-inch lace. They come in sizes 7 to 14 in a regular width and 8 to 14 in double E width. That's a wide fitting. And they run half sizes from 8 through 12. And they are made in Slovenia. Now, before we dive into what worked for me and what didn't work for me, a quick update regarding Forged in the Backcountry. So I just released a brand new pair of boxers and a brand new waterproof hat. Both completely custom. I designed them from the ground up. You can watch the boxers video here. They're called the Forged Base Series Boxers. Just launched them 3 weeks ago. The response has been overwhelming. In fact, I'm almost sold out of the first batch already. But if you go to forgedinthebackcountry.com, you can check out the boxers, you can check out the hat, and in addition to that, every $5 spent on Forged in the Backcountry gear between now and April 30th, 2025 will get you one entry to win a Swarovski ATX 85mm spotting scope. So if you've been frustrated trying to find boxers designed for the backcountry and even just super comfortable EDC boxers, I highly recommend you give these a go. I worked my ass off, pun intended, designing these things after years of, reviewing and researching other boxes. I took everything I like, stuffed it in there, everything I didn't like, got rid of it. Forgedinthebackcountry.com. Every $5 gets you one entry to win the Swarovski ATX 85mm spotting scope. Okay, so here's what works for me for this boot. They are super comfortable. There's a proprietary design to the tongue that Meindl has come out with. It's kind of one of their marketing, flagship elements of their marketing campaign for these boots. I do find the boots very comfortable to wear. There is a lot of room in the toe box, very wide toe box, and the double E fitment is a true wide fitment. This is a wide from Schnee's, this is a wide from Meindl. They're hardly even comparable. The wide from Meindl is incredibly wide compared to the one from Schnee's. So I like that when they say they're wide, they are actually wide, and there's a ton of room in the toe box. Probably one of my favorite things about these boots are the double locking lace systems. So there is really nice roller ball hardware, and then there's a friction lock here and another one on the instep. And so what I like, typically they only lock at the instep, which means you don't have the ability to apply a separate amount of pressure to the forefoot, this area here, than you do to the instep. So essentially with a single locking mechanism, you basically have two pressure zones. The amount of pressure on your forefoot and then the amount of pressure on your upper foot and your instep are combined. Because it has the double locking mechanisms, you basically have three zones that you can apply pressure to: the forefoot, the instep, and the upper foot. I like to leave my forefoot rather loose, like not super loose, but just enough pressure that I can kind of feel the boot around my forefoot. I like to let my foot kind of move. I like the natural suspension to do what it's supposed to do. I like my toes to splay out the way they're supposed to splay, but I love to jam my instep down, like crank on my instep, that sucks my heel back into the heel cup of the boot. And then I like a lot of firm tension on my forefoot. I got weaker ankles from years of jiu-jitsu and other nonsense. And I like to take advantage of the strengthening capabilities of the boot. So super tight upper foot, super tight instep, kind of loose through the forefoot. I can do that with this lacing mechanism. And in my opinion, it's my favorite thing about this boot. Also, a very large rubber rand on this boot. And so lots of protection. I really appreciate that. And I would say the water resistance is about on par for boots. I'm still not over the moon with any, particular water resistance capabilities of any leather boots. I'm always looking for ways to improve that. But I would say this is to be expected. Now, what doesn't work for me? The laces to me feel a bit cheap and flimsy. And I don't know why that is. And maybe they're not cheap, but they certainly, they feel flat, and they just don't have that high quality hiking boot lace feel that I would be accustomed to or expect in something like a La Sportiva or a Scarpa. You can't run a front automatic crampon with these boots. And I'm bringing that up, but there's very few boots other than true mountaineering boots that will allow you to do that. So, I'm calling it out, but you can't really expect it from many other boots, but I wish there were more boots that would offer fully automatic crampon compatibility. And I know it's a function of the stiffness, because manufacturers hesitate to allow you to use fully automatic crampons when the boots aren't incredibly stiff. I think they should still make it available to you anyways. I'm not a fan of how much stitching there is. Everywhere you have a different piece of material is a potential point of failure. So you have two different heel pockets here, this section here, like all these different materials, all this different stuff. These are all places where water could get in, or tears could occur, or seams could degrade. And so I prefer a more minimalistic design with fewer panels on the boot. I'm not sure how this suede material is going to hold up to long-term abuse. I'm just going to call that out. It might hold up extremely well, but it's something I'm going to keep an eye on moving forward. The final element that is a bit of an Achilles heel, pardon the pun, with these boots is the sizing. So they are very clear on the website that you need to go at least a half a size down from your true sizing. I think it might even be closer to a full size down. My Beartooth 14s are quite tight. I can barely get my foot in a pair of 14 Scarpas, and my feet are absolutely swimming in these 14 wides. Now, if I do the laces up just right, wear a pair of winter socks, have my sheep feet insoles, it's not bad. It's not their fault that my feet are so big. A 13 would be too small for me, and they stop half sizes at size 12. So 13 and a half would probably fit me perfectly. But it's something you want to keep in mind. 100% you are going to need to order a smaller size Meindl than any other boot you wear in this particular fit. They have a couple different last and a couple different fit technologies that they use. So this isn't applicable to every single pair of Meindls. They're very clear on their website. I want to give them a lot of credit. They give you a Brannock chart that you can print out to measure your feet. That they make it very clear about the sizing. What I'm not sure is why they've done it this way. Did they prototype and manufacture a bunch of boots and they just happen to be too big? I don't understand. If you know they're too big, why didn't you just make them smaller so they fit properly? That's the frustrating part to me. I'm hoping there's another pair of Meindls I'm hoping to run a review on here shortly. And I'm actually going to stick with the 14s, but I'm not going to get the wides. I don't have traditionally wide feet by nature, but I have a toe box, like my forefoot, because I have a nerve issue. I need a lot of room up there, but I like a tight heel cup, and I like a kind of narrower back near the instep. But typically I always have to get wide boots because boots are too narrow in the forefoot and the toe box. Like the Schnees are a perfect example. I get a wide boot, but it's not really a wide boot. If you're getting a Meindl wide, it's legitimately wide. So I would say if you just like a little bit more room, but you don't have a truly wide foot, don't get wide with Meindl. Size down at least a half a size. And listen, order them. wear them around the house for a day or two. If they're too big, ship them back, get another pair. Like, boot manufacturers are great about that kind of stuff. All right, one more quick note before we dive into the conclusion. If you like non-sponsored, unbiased gear reviews like this and you want to see more, I would love your support. You can do that by joining Mindful Reviews. You go to mindful-reviews.com, pick any one of the subscription options. You can join for as low as $5 a month. And I'm going to sweeten the pot. Between now and April 30th, 2025, anyone who joins Mindful Reviews is automatically entered to win a pair of SIG Sauer Zulu 10 15 power binoculars. So mindful-reviews.com. Sign up, support unbiased, non-sponsored gear reviews, and I'd love to continue conversations about these boots and many other products over there in the forums with everybody. Okay, so final thoughts and conclusions on the Meindls. Great moderate terrain late season boot, hyper comfortable. My feet run hot. I wouldn't wear this boot before the middle of October. If I tried to wear this boot on a September elk hunt, my feet would sweat. I don't think they're going to be your all-purpose, do any hunt you want, but for colder weather, when you're not on like a winter goat hunt where you need a fully automatic crampon or crazy stiff boots, I think these Meindls are a fantastic option. Just pay a little bit of special extra care to sizing and you should be fine. If you have any more questions, drop them in the comments section below. I would greatly appreciate your support, pumping this video up in the algorithm. If you could like and subscribe, that would help me out a lot. And as always, thank you for tuning in.